walk into the store with a gleam in my eye. Books stacked so high they reach for the sky. Classics and mysteries, oh what a delight. History whispers in the dead of night. A deal on Dickens, who could resist? A stack of Austen, warmly kissed. Golden Age crime tales twist and turn. Every page a treasure to learn. Books keep coming home with me. Piles so tall, they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea. Reading always feels so free.
Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. As I mentioned in the previous two videos, wearing the dark glasses because I am being affected by the snow that has already occurred and then the snow that is anticipated to continue to come in. And we're supposed to get quite a decent amount of snow. I am taking advantage of a little window of time where I feel up to recording. But I did not want to give myself another headache with the bright lights, so I wanted to keep my dark glasses on. My darker glasses on. But this is the last part of, this is the last video of my 3-part video on my Christmas book haul. I do have a few other books I think that are still coming in because I received mostly book gift cards like thrift books or any other gift card I was able to apply to books. So it worked out very well for me. Oh, I didn't bring over one of them. I'll just show it in the next video. I have a book called The Golden Legend. I already started reading it. It is a medieval, it was recently, well, it has already been translated to English, but it was recently compiled by Princeton Press into a single volume version in the English translation. And the foreword was written by Eamon Duffy, who I am quite fond of. Or the introduction rather, not the foreword. And it's basically a collection of popular stories that were told during the medieval era about saints. And it's put together by someone who's now considered a blessed in the Catholic Church. Didn't know that until I read the introduction. Name is like Jacobus de la something or other. I can't remember the last name, but I do remember it was Jacobus. And his book, his Golden Legend, was put together during medieval times, and people would use aspects of it to base their sermons on. It fell out of favor during the Protestant Reformation and also when the Catholic Church was doing its counter-reformation. Some of those stories also were seen as being just a little bit too much, a little bit maybe more on the legend as we would see the term legend now as being almost fantasy. But they were very popular in their era and they kind of resurfaced and have been getting attention from those who enjoy medieval literature, religious tracts, etc. But yeah, I have that. Now, he doesn't have it following what would be considered the current liturgical calendar necessarily. I did start the Advent section after Advent because I didn't have it till after Christmas because I used a gift card to get it. But so I'm behind. But he's also not following the strict calendar. He's not even always putting saints who were already canonized during his lifetime. He was focusing very much on older saints that had exciting martyrdom stories that he could tell. But yeah, so I know that going through, I'll probably eventually catch up. By the time he hits Lent, I'll probably be about there, hopefully, if I don't get caught up in other reading. So that book I'll show at some point, but I don't have it with me now. Books I do have with me now. Now, these two I picked up before Christmas. They just took a while to arrive. My dad was talking about how good these were. I hadn't realized how thick they were. So let's see, which one is first? Oh, here's volume 1. So Benedict the 16th, A Life. So this is volume 1, where it covers his childhood in Germany, what it was like to be a boy in Nazi Germany. I believe he had been forced into the Hitler Youth because of his age at the period, which is a very difficult thing to, you wonder what it'd be like to have to decide between your family's safety and dealing with a regime like the Nazis. So this part of the story will be very interesting to hear about, because it wasn't like this was a choice that he made because he was ideologically aligned with the Nazis. He was a child. So this will be very interesting. Then here is the second part, second volume. This is Professor and Prefect to Pope and Pope Emeritus. So yeah, this one here is Youth in Nazi Germany to Second Vatican Council. And so this is 1927 to 1965, and this is 1966 to the present. And the present, that when this was put out, I believe this was still put out when Pope Benedict was still alive. Yeah, it's published in, was he still alive in 2021? I'm trying to remember. Just like, that feels like that was so very long ago that he passed, but 2021 just feels like yesterday. It's weird. Anyway, so those books I had picked up prior to Christmas. I think this one might have been prior to Christmas too. This one's Arion from Bookzelots Faust. This is Team Arrivals by Doris Kearns Goodwin, The Political Genius of Abraham Lincoln. And I've heard really good things about this, so I look forward to reading it. It's quite thick. I've heard that it does a good job of representing different parties during a time period and without being, while looking at Abraham Lincoln in a way that's at least fairly balanced. And I think the rest of these were all Christmas presents of some sort. Oh, except this one. I don't remember when I picked up this one. This is another one that I picked up because of Arion. Healing a Divided Nation, How the American Civil War Revolutionized Western Medicine. Right up my alley. I have a couple of other books that deal with Civil War and healthcare, just like I have at least one other that deals with the Revolutionary War and that topic. Generally, most eras, I do tend to look for information on medicine at that time, because that intersection between medicine and history is of interest to me. Now, the rest of these are Christmas gifts. I've heard excellent things about this book. When it actually came up on Thrift Books when I was looking for something else, and I heard that it gave a really balanced view of Padre Pio. It's actually written by someone who is a non-Catholic, but who respected Padre Pio. So I look forward to reading this. It's always interesting to read a book that's written about someone not of your faith, about someone who is such a towering figure like a Padre Pio. Or even honestly, when I mentioned the book on Pope Pius XII, who doesn't have nearly the same veneration as someone like Padre Pio, but seeing him from another perspective. I've already read one book on Padre Pio written by a friend of mine, someone I knew in college, and I didn't actually realize he had written a book until it was recommended to me, and then I recognized the name. But that was the other book that I read on Padre Pio. This is something different. But I've been really excited about this, and if it had not been picked up for me for Christmas, I would have picked it up on my own. This one, or these two, are written by the author who wrote the other book that I have about this area of the world. This is the author's Judith, I believe. Yeah, Judith Herron, And the book I have already is Ravenna, and I picked it up at, was it Princeton Press sale? It was one of the university sales. I got it for stupid cheap because I caught like a 70% off sale. And it was insane how cheap I got it for. Beautiful book. But these two books are also by her, and these were Christmas gifts. This is Byzantium, Surprising Life of a Medieval Empire. And this one is The Formation of Christendom. So I look forward to reading these books in my growing Judith Herring collection. I do not yet have slated any for books for this year, but maybe this one seems to be the thinnest of them. So if the text is teeny. If I do any of them, I don't know. I'm not sure. It all depends on how I do with the books I already have slated. I'm trying not to overwhelm myself this year with my plans for what I'm going to read. I will inevitably fail because that's always seems to be what happens, but that is my goal. This one here, just because I thought that she seems to have been a very interesting person. And that is Margaret Thatcher. This is an autobiography. I also would potentially be interested in checking out a biography on her because autobiographies are great and I am going to be very interested in this. But I also am interested in the external perspective, which is why I read a biography of Agatha Christie, even though I do have an autobiography of hers as well. Margaret Thatcher is not going to write about how other people saw her. A biography would give me that perspective. However, I am very interested in what she had to say about herself. And from what I understand, this was a very good book, or is a very good book. So I do look forward to reading about this. She seems to have been something else, quite a powerful personality and person in general. I remember hearing the story about her being actually, instead of going off in the other room with all the women when they would separate, the men to smoke and talk, politics or whatever, and the women to go off and, do their thing in the other room after dinner. She was actually permitted, well, for that time, permitted to be with the guys while they were smoking and having their port or sherry, whatever the heck they would have. Because she was like one of the boys. Just a very interesting figure that was all on her own during that time. There weren't many like her. I mean, Queen. I think she was after Queen Victoria. I think it was Queen Victoria's son. I honestly don't know much about her other than a few anecdotes, which is why I'm interested. Anyway, then this last one, I have been interested in this book for a while. I initially wanted to borrow it from the library or on Libby, but I looked at the length of the book and I was like, I'm going to end up running out of time when I borrow this. And actually, the Kindle book, if I remember correctly, was much longer than it appears to be in physical form, probably because the text is kind of small in this. But that book is The Rape of Europa, which sounds like a racy romance novel, but it is not. This is the story of the fate of Europe's treasures in the Third Reich and the Second World War. So that covers another one of my interests, the intersection between art and history. And apparently there is a major motion picture that was based on this, which is The Monuments Men. Now, I have a couple books that cover different aspects of the treasures that the Nazis stole. I have one that covers the aspect of forgers who took advantage of that. I have another aspect that covers the books that were taken, a different aspect that covers just the art, and about a lot of it was talking about the regathering of these things that were stolen. But this book has been in and out of my Amazon cart, in and out of my thrift books cart. I kept holding back, and then when I got the thrift books gift card, I was just like, that's it, I'm picking it up. I've been thinking about this book for months. It's just time to succumb and grab it, even though I will probably end up reading this maybe even without my glasses, just because the text is small. It'll be easier just to sit there with it right up close. Did I show you the size of the text? Itty bitty. But yeah, that is it. That is completely it for the book haul so far. I am expecting my Oxford American Dictionary to come in, and I am expecting another book that was part of a Christmas gift, which is Postcards on Parchment, which is about the things that people would write on their manuscripts, their religious manuscripts, their illuminated manuscripts in medieval times, and I believe in Tudor times as well. Like oaths and family lists and all these little personal touches, sometimes little drawings that they would do that were not a part of the official text or part of the actual illuminations that dealt with that text. That has always been that little personal touch, like touching history itself. That's always been of great interest to me. That's why some of the books that talk about the things in the margins that the monks would put in because they were bored, or things like that. That is that little human aspect that's like, yeah, people weren't that much different than they are now in some ways. They doodled, they wrote notes on things. It's so nice when you run into these books that are like, here, touch back and, see someone who is not that different in essence to who you are. Yes, the belief systems might have been different, and the living conditions were very different. But people are people, it's just, yeah. I look forward to that book coming in, but I believe that one's coming from out of country because it has one of those carriers that when you look on eBay, it's like, oh yeah, that looks like that's going to be taking a while. Actually, that might have even been one where they had to translate it from Australian or from a different currency system. I want to say it might have been Australian, so that one might be a little while in coming. Anyway, especially if they did like a media mail kind of thing. But that's it for this video. Thanks very much for joining me for my book haul. Hope that you have a wonderful day and that your new year has been great so far. God bless. Bye.
Second-hand aisles, oh how they call. Paperbacks line my bedroom wall. Hardcovers with stories brawny and tall. Book hauls keep me enthralled. Shakespeare's sonnets make my heart sing. Epic tales of knights in a ring. Fitzgerald's dreams and Hemingway's might make every lonely night feel bright. Books keep coming home with me. Piles so tall, they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea. Reading always feels so free.